Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Spencer Higginbotham talking about the differences between Jonathan Johnson and Governor Herbert. And today we're going to be talking about taxes. Alright, so first let's look at this. So this is a flyer. Come on. There we go. So this is a flyer by Jonathan Johnson, and in this flyer, just like in the debate, he promised never to raise taxes. And he talks about all the times that Governor Herbert raised taxes or even considered raising taxes. Let's look at each of the times that Governor Herbert actually raised taxes. So there's the gas tax, the property tax, Proposition 1, and then there was a little sales tax increase in Salt Lake City. These three times were only times that he even considered raising taxes. And then the last one on the list, 2010, he allowed a $44 million tobacco tax to become a law without his signature. So let's talk about each of the taxes individually. First off, the tobacco tax in 2010. That was a tax on increasing tobacco. And, not increasing tobacco, increasing taxes on tobacco. And so if you don't chew or smoke tobacco, you don't have to pay it. And that's a good tax because it discourages chewing tobacco. So you can't really complain about that one. That was the only tax that he increased, clear from 2009 to 2014. I'll keep that one open because we might refer to it later. The problem with the fact that he didn't raise the taxes during those 6 years, except for tobacco tax, one of the problems was this. Now this isn't quite what it looks like. Earlier in the debate, Governor Herbert did say that he committed not to decrease funding on education, and that's not what this is. This is income per 1,000. This is how much money is spent on education per $1,000 of personal income, and that number grows from year to year. And if you remember from your math class, when the denominator increases, the numerator doesn't have to decrease in order for the fraction to decrease. So yeah, the amount of funding that we needed for education was growing, so the amount of money that we had for each person was lower. And not only that, but also our transportation needed some more funding. And this whole article, I'm not really going to go into detail, but Utah civic leaders, they launch a unified drive, get it, drive, because it's transportation, for transportation funding increase. So yeah, both of those things needed help. And so let's talk about each of the taxes that he increased after in 2015. He raised them 3 times because we needed money to fund education and transportation. So the gas tax, $76 million, basically that's an extra 5 cents per gallon, which when you consider how much tax prices have dropped, before we were paying $4 a gallon, and if you include taxes, maybe that's, I don't know, $4.30 per gallon. Now we're paying about $2.35 per gallon with taxes that might be like $2.60. So we're going from paying about $4.30 a gallon to paying about $2.60 a gallon, and all he's saying is let's make it $2.65 a gallon. And so that doesn't seem like too much of a burden putting on taxpayers' shoulders, and that's to increase funding for transportation. One of the things about transportation is the improvement of roads, and the better the roads are, the less likely you are to get in an accident. So you could even say that that tax saved some people some money. Now, property taxes. Let's look at where Utah is as far as property taxes. So Utah's average effective property tax rate is just 0.68%. That's the 11th lowest in the country, and that's after the tax increase. So it was already a low tax, and he just increased it a little bit so that we could have more money for education. And we all agree education is important. We needed money in education, and so I think that was a good decision. And then the last tax, we're not going to worry about the Salt Lake City tax because that was only one city. He approved a tax raising sales taxes by 0.25%. Only 17 of the counties voted, and only 10 counties voted in favor of it. And Johnson doesn't say here how much the tax was increased, but here we have how much the tax was increased. However, voters in 7 counties, so only 10 of the 17 counties voted in favor of it. So 7 counties gave the tax hike a thumbs down, plummeting the statewide tax impact to roughly $28 million. So that one was $28 million. So 3 of the 4 numbers that we have for tax increases came from Jonathan Johnson himself. Remember, Jonathan Johnson also, in the video of the debate, said that we had raised taxes $800 million. Well, let's do the math. So gas taxes increased $76 million. Property taxes, another $76 million. The tobacco tax, $44 million. And then the Proposition 1 was $28 million. That adds up to $224 million. Now he also, remember how he said $800 million we've raised taxes? It's really only $224 million. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was talking about over the course of 4 years. But that's the fact, $224 million. Now, when he said $250 million of tax decreases, and I'm not going to go through all 34 times that Governor Herbert decreased taxes to figure out how much that is, let's say that was also, let's say that was also over the course of 4 years. So tax raised over $800 million in 4 years. They were dropped only $250 million over 4 years. So let's say $60 million in 1 year. So subtract 60. So $164 million of tax decreases, of increasing taxes. So now let's do some more math. So let's go $164 million. Now, how many households are there in Utah? We're going to see how much money that is per household. And there we have it. There are, wait a minute, that's not it. There we go. 700,000 households in Utah. You saw it for a brief second. And then this happens. Here, let's get to it again. So about 700,000 households in Utah. So let's divide this number by 700,000. Oh, whoops. $234 a year for the average household. Now, if we divide that by 12 so that we can calculate how much it is per month, that's under $20 a month. And when you take into account inflation, that's really not very much at all. Now, what if we did this again only without the tobacco tax, since most of you don't pay the tobacco tax? If we wanted to, we could do this again for the Proposition 1 tax to get rid of that one, and so if you don't belong to those counties, it's even less. But let's just take away the tobacco tax. So what did we have before? $164 million. Minus 44 million. So instead it's just $120 million. Divide that among 700,000 households. And we get $171 a year. And if we want per month, $14 a month. So, yeah, if you're the average Utah household and you don't chew tobacco, Governor Herbert increased taxes $14 a month, and again with inflation, adding $14 million to what you pay. Adding $14 to what you pay now is it doesn't end up making it that much more than what it was before Governor Herbert started. And considering what that money's going toward, education, transportation, the unemployment rate has gone down from about 8% to 3%. And so, yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the tax decreases that the tax increases and tax decreases that Governor Herbert has made. And Jonathan Johnson's accusing him of just more money, more money, more money. Well, even if overall he raised taxes, he only raised them 4 times and he lowered taxes 34 times. That doesn't sound like more money to me. So, yep, that's my spiel on taxes. Next time we'll be talking about suicide rates, sexual violence, and